Today, we're speaking all about golden visas. What is a golden visa? Who qualifies for one? The application process and the common mistakes to avoid. So, if you're looking at getting a golden visa, this is the video for you.
There's no one better. There's no one better.
Okay, today, Zeba, we're going to be talking about everything golden visas. What it is, the benefits of getting a golden visa, how you apply, all the documents, everything from A to Z, even the common mistakes people make when applying for a golden visa. So let's start at the very beginning. First of all, can you explain what is a golden visa and what benefits does it offer to those who obtain one?
Okay, I'm going to simplify this. A golden visa is a 10-year long visa. This is issued by the government in UAE. The first time the golden visa was initiated was in 2019. At that point of time, it was given to anybody that contributed to the landscape of UAE and the business environment. So the first person to receive the golden visa was M.A. Yusuf Ali, who is the chairman of the Lulu Group. Post then, the golden visa has broadened and is available to a wide spectrum of people, ranging from somebody who's got a property investment to a student, to a researcher, so on and so forth. The golden visa is a great initiative because in this, you don't require a sponsor. Once the primary applicant gets the golden visa, he or she could then sponsor their family accordingly. They could live, study, work over here in UAE without any restrictions. And also, it doesn't have a frequency wherein you need to visit the country every 6 months or once a year. It doesn't have that gap. So it makes it extremely easy and it's stable. The country we all know is stable. It's secure. So it's a great initiative done by the government of UAE.
Okay, so you touched on people who qualify. Yeah. Let's just go a little bit deeper into that. So who does qualify for a golden visa in Dubai?
Okay, the range is intense. It could range right from somebody who's got a property worth 2 million dirhams or above, or somebody who has a fixed deposit in the bank of 2 million and above, someone who is salaried and has a good salary, someone who's an exceptional student with a very high GPA score, known from a very good university. It could be for somebody who's a researcher, a scientist, someone who's done exceptional in the field of art, culture, poetry. It could also be for somebody who's starting up a business over here and has invested huge levels of investment. It could be for somebody who's sold their business and has received good revenue from it, or someone whose business is doing genuinely well. There was an initiative that was launched as Blue Visa. So Blue Visa is nothing but a golden visa, which is given for 10 years for somebody who has contributed in the environment sustainability space. So it could be renewable energy, anything that protects the environment. So if we see UAE is not just rewarding people for anything at all, but on basis of achievements and merits. Definitely, we are looking at attracting some of the best talent pools from around the world. And like UAE has a diversity of population, we are looking at a cosmopolitan mix now and forever in the UAE.
So Zeba, you've spoken about a number of different types of people that can qualify for a golden visa.
Yes.
I just want to hone in on a couple there, specifically business owners or entrepreneurs. How do they qualify for a golden visa?
Okay. That's a great question. Now, for a business owner or an entrepreneur to qualify for a golden visa, they need to meet certain conditions. One is they obviously need to have some sort of entrepreneurial achievements and investment level that is done in this country, or try to shape the UAE landscape in order to promote growth, business growth. So it could be for some company which has achieved a significant revenue. It may not be extremely large, but it needs to be contributing to a good revenue. For somebody who is a startup and has invested great amount of funds in this space, it could be for somebody who sold the company as well. Basically, for anybody that is contributing to growth, and hence the first visa was actually given to people who shaped the landscape of UAE. They have to take a Ministry of Economy approval. Post that, they can go ahead with the application process.
Okay, so how does a business owner know based on these criteria that they can qualify if they apply?
There is no rule book that they would know how they could qualify. However, they need to have some sort of number where the revenue is concerned, or an investment level if they're a new startup. Likewise, if they've sold a business, they need to have a certain figure, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 7 million dirhams and above. But this keeps changing from time to time. The government is constantly updating regulations. So what I would suggest is it's best to get a professional advice and then take it forward from there.
Okay, so we figured out how you qualify.
Yeah.
What are the typical costs involved in obtaining a golden visa in Dubai?
Okay, so there are two types of cost which are predominant. One is the government cost for the visa. Now, again, it depends upon the range or the eligibility criteria that you qualify for. It could be anywhere between 5,000 dirhams going upwards to 10,000 dirhams. In terms of the second cost associated with it is your medical cost. You need to have an insurance which is valid and it works in UAE. It needs to be as per the UAE regulations. So that's another cost. The third cost is in case if you take any professional firm that is helping you assist it, they might charge you a small service cost because they would collate the documents for you and make the application on your behalf.
Okay, that's amazing, Zeba. Now, let's look at the actual process. So can you outline the step-by-step process for applying for a golden visa in Dubai?
Sure. So I'll need to dissect this answer. The first is you need to know under which category are you eligible. For example, are you eligible from a property category, or are you eligible from a salaried category? Once you've identified that, then you will have to gather all the documents. Now, these documents comprise of your identification documents, which is your passport. In case if you have an existing visa, Emirates ID would also include your clear passport size picture. Second document would be your proof of eligibility. Under which condition are you planning to apply for it? So if it's a property, under basis of property, you require either an okud or a title deed. If it's on basis of an employment, you require your salary contract. If you're a sports person, you require basis on your Wikipedia profile, on basis of your CV. After you've collated that, then you require the desired approval from the ministry. For example, if it's from a business category, you require the Ministry of Economy approval. Once you've obtained that approval, then you can go ahead and apply for the golden visa. Now, the process is simple. You either do it yourself, or if you hired somebody, they would make the application for you, which would make your life easier. You do that. Then you require, if you have an existing visa, you have to cancel the visa because you cannot have two visas while your process is on. Third, you have to remember you cannot fly out of the country if your visa is in the pre-approval stage. The fourth is once you have received, if you have a labor contract in place, you would have to put that on hold. And then you could obtain the golden visa, which means you get an approval from GDFRA, which is the Ministry for Foreign Affairs and Residency. Once they approve it, once they've reviewed it and approved it, it goes to immigration. Once immigration approves it, you can get a golden visa, which is electronic. So it's no longer the sticker is in your passport of the visa. So that's the process. It's extremely straightforward and streamlined.
And do you need to have all your documents attested and in Arabic and in English?
Okay, great question. I missed that. Certain documents will need to be attested, will require Ministry of Foreign Affairs stamp in the country where you are from or where you've obtained that particular document, and same needs to be attested from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in UAE. So yes, you require attestation, and in certain cases you do require a document you need a document to be translated in Arabic as well.
How long does this process typically take?
Oh, they've reduced the time frame now. So it's anywhere between 5 to 10 working days at the max.
Okay, amazing. So that's the process for an individual.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that you can then sponsor family members, your spouse, your kids, everything. So can family members, whether that be your spouse or your children, be included in that golden visa application? And what are the requirements for them, if so?
Okay. So yes, once the primary applicant has got his or her golden visa, they can very well apply for the family, the dependent visas, like we call. So if it has to be for your spouse, okay, so you require the marriage certificate attested. If it is for the children, you require the birth certificate. This is primary to prove the relation with the primary applicant. If it's for your parents that you're sponsoring, so you require to have the marriage certificate of your parents. You require to have your birth certificate attested as well. This is again to prove relation with the primary applicant. Not only this, you can also apply for your domestic staff, and there is no number on it. So you could come with an entourage of staff. All you need is a Tashil contract, which is basically the governing body which issues contracts for your domestic help.
You've been doing this for some time. And although you offer professional help and advice to people doing the application, I'm sure you see a number of mistakes that people make when actually going through the application process. So what are the common mistakes applicants make and how can they be avoided?
Okay. The biggest mistake is the photograph. Always the photograph. Sometimes people click it with some different background. You need to have a white background in place. It needs to be as per the specifics of the visa. Or sometimes people would come, the pictures clicked from their mobile phone, which is clearly not got any clarity. So please get it clicked from a professional studio. Second mistake is that certain documents are not attested, which delays the process. Third mistake that we would see is certain times there is an approval not taken from the desired authority. So that again delays the process. But of course, if you use somebody who is assisting you with the service, they would take care of all of these documents. And the fourth is that the passport, so initially you require a passport copy. The passport copy is not a clear scan image. It's a picture. It's not the best clarity. So that hinders the process. And maybe medical insurance, because if you have a government insurance in another country, that is not valid over here. So you need to obtain the right insurance as per the framework of UAE.
So out of the entire process, can you give me 3 or 4 things that the current residents of Dubai should know about transitioning to a golden visa?
Okay. Once they're transitioning from one visa to another visa, they need to cancel the former visa because you cannot have 2 visas active on the system, on the immigration system. Second is that when you're applying for the golden visa, you cannot fly out of the country until and unless you've obtained a pre-approval. The third parameter is in case if you have a labor contract that is active, the labor contract needs to be put on hold. Once you've received the golden visa, you can very well transfer it. Fourth is a golden visa is it's electronic, it's digital, so you don't have a physical sticker in the passport.
Okay, so let's end this with a bit of advice.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to potential investors in property that want to get a golden visa in Dubai?
Okay. First of all, a property investor needs to remember this, that the property investment is directly linked to the visa. So 2 million dirhams or above gets you a golden visa. However, when you do that, the visa is linked. So anytime that you want to sell the property, the asset, you have to de-link the visa, which is, there are 2 ways to go about it. One is you cancel it if you don't need the visa anymore. Or the second step is that you put the visa on hold. Now, if a client prefers to put the visa on hold because they know they're going to invest in another property, they need to bear in mind that there is a stipulated time frame, which is typically 2 months. So they need to have something which is ready, or at least the Okud is ready so that they can transfer the visa from one property to another. Another thing is to check for guidelines and updates time to time. For example, in the past, we had, if the property was 2 million, the paid up value needed to be 2 million. So the valuation, the value of the property needed to match the paid up amount. However, over a course of time, the paid up amount is not very significant, but the value of the property is significant. So now there is no minimum condition or amount that is placed on how much needs to be the paid up capital, either in a mortgage or an off-plan property. So check for updates. And the third is always have a backup or a contingency plan, which what do I mean by this is that, okay, your visa is linked to your property. However, if there is another method or another way that you can qualify for, explore that avenue. So in that case, you will not have to think every time that you're planning to flip a property for profit perspective, or you're planning to upgrade your current house, whatever the reason might be. So the best is to either evaluate for yourself or get some professional advice who can look into the options that you are eligible for and make the necessary informed decision on your behalf.
So if you then sell your property where your golden visa is linked to, if you don't buy another property in the time limit and maybe let's say a year later you buy another property which qualifies you for a golden visa, can you reapply?
First of all, I don't know who is really doing this. Because honestly, it's such a stable environment, politically stable, secure, safety. But to answer that question of yours, yes, they can do that. And as long as they meet the eligibility conditions at that point and everything is fulfilled, they definitely can.
That's great. Thank you, Zeba. Any final thoughts or remarks on golden visas?
Okay, the process is extremely straightforward and simple and easy, like we've understood in this episode. However, if you have any doubts at any point of time, you want to know what category you qualify for, feel free to contact me. You can drop me a DM on my different social media handles mentioned down, or you could email me at zeba@ficocapitalsolutions.com, and I will be happy to assist you.
There's no one better. Again, you know my